10. Okay. 1 second, everybody. Allow everybody time to get in. We're gonna have a incredible show right now. I can feel it already. I'm getting lit up, and so I am. It's like every show is synchronistic, and they just get better and better. I gotta say, 900 shows. We're approaching 900 shows, and they just get more and more synchronistic. Okay, let's see here. What we got? We got Tom Whitebear's in the house. Karen Starr, beautiful Karen Starr. I got to look on the calendar and see if she's on there. I thought we had another show lined up. And Kelly B. Sparklin's here. Soraya Williams. Let's give them a little bit of time. How about that? We got 10 people in the house and counting. Paul Castaneda, Leslie Martin, Mary Cooper. If these shows resonate with you, please share. This is the vehicle that we're using, continuing to using Facebook and replays on YouTube until we can break away to our own independent channel, our own website, and our own streaming service, our own server, and all that. Thank you for the continued love and support and contributions, which allow us to continue to do this. This is what Soulogy is all about. It's not about me. It's not about who's on the other side of the screen. It's about the vortex that we create, like Abraham Hicks says. This is a collective reflection, a small mirror of the universe, which is the same element, adding additional frequencies to a never-expanding vibration. Hello, Wendy Kirkwood and Naveen. What's going on in the Netherlands? Joan Kirkendall, Heather Houston, Grace Solaris. I just want to everybody take a quick moment with me, if you would, and send Grace and her family healing, peace, love, and comfort. Her mother transitioned on the 18th of February. You're in our hearts always, beloved sister, and thank you also for all the work that you do for the collective. Stephen Michael Jones is here from Norway. Carl Striener, Bo James, Laws Mitchell, Karen Mitchell, Eva Alta, Bo James, Candace Graham, Eleanor Young, Dewa Badawi, Eleanor Young, Kamara Ford down in Florida. Okay, they're coming in too fast. My head's spinning. So welcome. For those of you who don't know, my name's Todd Medina. This is Soul Speaks 5D, Soulogy One Network. This is our primary show called Soul Speaks 5D. It's a conversation with today is Julie Lyden. Okay. And let me give you a little backdrop on Julie. She shares her soul essence as a soul light mentor that embodies the divine child. We're going to talk about this, and supports the human to let go and merge more fully with their divine soul essence. Her process is centered around the core 4 emotions and working with the inner child. Very important. She triggers more remembering through the sharing of the essence clock codes and conscious languaging, so people may live more consciously aware, all done in space of divine love, humor, and fun. She is also a joint custodian with her soul sister and mentor of Heart Essential Art and Simple Alchemy, where they share rememberings of the journey home through blog and Facebook posts, audios, and move ease into YouTube. All supporting the art of the heart, which is love, living our very essence. Wow, that's beautiful. I'm digging that, and I'm a wordsmith, so I love the way you twist all that in there. But and welcome to the show, and thank you for sharing space with us and honor us with your presence today. Welcome to Soul Speaks 5D.
And I just have to say thank you, Todd. I'm going to be honest, books, I always say cards on the table, books on the floor. This is my first interview.
Well, you know
so
what?
I feel really honored to be here.
Wow, that's an honor to have you here. And I want to say too, on that note, that, and I don't know your story yet, but I am lit up, man. It's not even my crown. It's not even my spine. It's my whole back, my shoulders. But we started this roughly 2 years ago. Morgan had the idea. Soul Speaks 5D Conversations shared the skills and abilities and the stories and such. It's been such a beautiful evolution to watch people come out. And we've come, and I've said this many times, now it's my whole body. But I've said this many times that the most powerful, as I've observed sitting in the seat, the most powerful activations, soul expansion, soul code exchange, come from these conversations. They come from our brother or our sister talking about their experience, their journey, and everything, much more than any downloads, channelings, or transmissions. This is where it's at. This is how we integrate the physical and the non-physical. The other thing I would say is that there have been many, particularly divine feminine, many around the world who have worked in solitude without any notoriety and anonymity, who have been doing the work for a long time, who have been reluctant through the energetic suppression that was in our cellular memory to step up because of all the things that happened in our history. And we all know that. But now this year, 2019, seems to be the year they're stepping up. And you are one of many of them that have come on this show for the first time on camera. And I just want to say it's a hell of an honor. This energy is the voice of the mother goddess that's in all of us, and which has been suppressed and is now equalizing the energy of the earth. So I'm really happy to hear that. And I would encourage anyone and everyone who hasn't come on camera to come to message Morgan or message me or whatever. And let's get it on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me say that. So now, where are you from? Where are you located?
I could put the camera outside and you'd know. Minnesota.
Oh yeah, a little bit of snow. That's right. I saw that. Yeah.
A lot of bit of snow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the Great White North, isn't it? So
yeah.
Yeah, we're just looking forward to getting to know you now. Now, I have to ask you this question.
Of course.
Everybody gets this question on this show. When did you wake up? How did you wake up? When did you realize, hey, man, this isn't what I thought it was?
Right. Well, I would have to say I call it my Humpty Dumpty moment. And that occurred in February 9th of 2004. One day I was married, the next day I wasn't. Put the pieces together. Not that I didn't know, it was not working. And I am a Libra. I am a number 2 in numerology. I am extremely loyal. And I will give someone a 100th chance, which I have learned that doesn't always support me or that person. So I would say 2004. And it was so perfect how it happened, because I call it my Humpty Dumpty moment, because there was no way I could put that old life back together again. It was just like I had done everything right. I had the 2.2 kids, the house in the suburbs, the dog, the cat, the country club, the whatever, and I always knew it was the people that made my life, not my things. And the person I was with at the time, I coined a new name, called it my husband, because he was my husband.
I never heard that before.
So we have a husband. Ex just sounds kind of harsh. So
how would you call it? What would the name
woman?
I don't think
Woman. I don't know.
Wasman. I don't know.
Wasman.
So
anyway.
Okay.
So anyway, it was so perfect, because it slammed me into my heart. There was no way I could not feel. Now, I'm going to give you a little backdrop. I came from a family of 10. Good Catholic family. There was 5 girls in 6 years. And we
Hats off to your father, man.
Oh my. And we, part of that, I was the middle child in that grouping. And I was the one that looked around and said, wow, who's going to parent here? Because they were just busy managing chaos, and it just got to be. And then I got to experience the abuses. You name them, check them off the list.
Yeah.
Which was, just kind of through my process, I recalled it in 2008. So that was a whole healing journey for me. And so when I say I have been there, I have been there. And part of the power of the heart and having gone through a trauma, whatever it is, you get to this place where you say, this is something I experience. It's not who I am.
Yeah.
And in that space, you can hold a space for another who is walking through that.
Yeah.
And basically, it's the space of the heart. I always say it's the space between the words that I'm saying that gives the biggest impact. And people have shared with me that they feel safe in my presence.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to cry because I didn't feel safe
Yeah.
growing up. And so if I can create that space for someone else who may not have ever experienced that, that is huge for me. And to me, that's half the journey.
Wow.
That's half the journey.
Mic drop. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I agree with you. I call it the space between breaths. You know, it's like the other side of conscious thought, this side of intuitive. It's like this little bitty space. And you're right. It's the intention of the heart. Oh my God, there's like a starship appearing before me. What the hell is going on here? I'm
I
not
actually
kidding.
asked for some signs.
I am actually. Somebody sent me a picture a couple of days ago, or yesterday, and it was of a cloud, because Morgan and I had a portal appear over us
Wow.
a couple of months ago. We put it on the internet. It was amazing. But they sent me a picture of this oval shape in the middle of these clouds, and that's what I'm looking at right now as I'm talking to you. So you got your sign. It threw me off my game here. I think I think what you're talking about, yeah. How do you put that into words? You can't. I mean, it's like, so I look at you and I say to myself, because I've seen it so many times, it's the path of the empath. And I really don't like labels, but in that burden of the empath on a personal level, taking all that in, and then the conversion of the transmutation, transformation becomes that blessing for the other, which is really what the empath always wanted. I take all this energy in, and I got to transmute it back in the day, or I got to transmute it, but we actually are getting the benefit of it now. And that's what I think your tears represent, is the transformation of that energy into what your heart always wanted, was just to heal everybody.
I used to look around in my family, and one of the reasons why my work, I feel like, goes around this core four emotions, which we'll get into in a little bit, is I grew up with a father who became his anger. It was a state of being for him. He didn't feel it. He became it.
Yeah.
And so what I say is, I remember going back and being this bright little light, probably, and I really feel like I saw things when I first came in. And of course, I looked around and nobody else was seeing it, right? Plus, the abuse started when I was 2. And so I literally created a lazy eye, because I feel like my little one said, wow, I don't want to see this. So my eyes went crossed. And that just added more to my not good enough. I don't fit in. Back then kids didn't have glasses very much. And however, in that, I learned a lot of valuable lessons. And I remember standing there as a 2-year-old, probably one of the first times where you did something innocent. You were being 2, right? And he became it. And I can almost recall that energy coming, like somebody throwing up, vomiting onto me. And it's not what happens to you. It's what you do with what happens to you.
Yeah.
So for me, I know I sat there and went, wow, this does not feel good. This does not feel
Mm.
good. I never want to feel this again. And then I also made another huge belief, and that was like, I never want anybody else to feel this again.
Yeah.
So literally, I kind of like slammed the door on one of the core emotions here. I'm getting ahead of myself. Anger. It's primal. It's part of this experience. But when you get what it's here for, what it's here to do, it catapults you to your passion. It is the doorway into passion. Haven't you ever found that where you, and you actually let yourself feel it and express it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then what
That's very
happens? You
true.
feel great, number one. And then you get super clear. You're like, this, no, no,
Yeah.
not anymore. No,
That's right.
because
Enough.
IKNOW, no,
Yeah.
now. And I always say anger is the one core emotion that most of us are the most afraid of. We're afraid of it because people, well-meaning adults, people, whatever, they just didn't do their work,
Yeah.
became it. And we took that on as little kids, and it didn't
Yeah.
feel good. Bottom
Right.
line, it was energy that didn't feel good.
Yeah.
So one thing I say about anger is, I said, it's not, there's a big difference between feeling that energy rise up, giving it a voice, and it can be physical, like stomping your feet or boom, hitting your lap or whatever that is, versus becoming it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Now,
right. Yeah.
big difference in the energy. We're talking the energy of it.
Yeah, 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 you're
Okay.
right. Like you said about your father becoming that, and then of course the other one. So, like I think about, and I struggled with this. I'm glad you brought this up. So, I've been on my journey for 7 years, and like all of us, we've had those moments, those come to Jesus meetings with the universe, and what am I doing here? Why are you giving me this information? Why did I disengage from my job and my family? And I'm following the light and blah, blah, blah. And why am I hungry, broke, and da, 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 right? And so what would happen is, especially the last, well, it's alleviated now. But so like going back to October of 2016, I went about a 2 year period, two-year period. And I left my house. I left my family, I left everything. And I'm on the road and I'm just a hobo, basically, but I'm doing my work. And so I would have these come to Jesus meetings with the universe, and I would be pissed off. I would be like, what the F is going on? But what was crazy was that every time I did that, which it took a lot for me to get to that point, the next day superabundance would kick in. And then it evolved to a point, and this is I think what you're getting at, and you can continue with it, is that what would happen is I got to a point where I thought I can't do that anymore. But I recognized that emotion was somehow or another being correlated in a pure way to the universe, and I was being reciprocated. But I also knew that I could not stay in that place, and maybe that's where you're going to go with this.
Yeah. Well, a couple things about this experience of feeling anger and being comfortable with it. Getting to be good friends with anger is one of the best things you can do here, because then it doesn't come out sideways.
Yeah,
And have you ever noticed it will be had? It will be
yeah,
had. So it's not an option not to feel it. And
that's right.
particularly with
That's
the
right.
energies pushing on us now,
Yeah,
this is becoming emotionally literate. This is really
yeah,
what we're doing, is becoming emotionally literate. So anger is an intimate experience. First of all, I want to say, between you and you,
yeah,
me and me. It
yeah.
has nothing to do with anyone else. They
That's right.
were the impetus to show us there was unprocessed anger in us, but it has nothing really to do with them.
Yeah,
And if you can step into that space, living gets a lot easier. really, really
Yeah.
fast. So, but we have had in the past this programming of victim consciousness where somebody did something to me, and now it's their fault that I'm here. And
Right.
trust me, that's part of the journey.
Yeah.
That is
That's why
part
they
of it.
call it that's why they call it waking up. So
Exactly.
you gotta have something to wake up from, right? But you're right about that. And now that you say that, and I've said this once or twice before, what ended up happening was for me was you're right, because it will have its way. It will be had. And so somebody made a comment, is that when the anger turns to rage? And that's what was happening to me. See, now not with the universe, but with my past. But what ended up happening was, I've been in a divine conscious relationship for 3 years, and she's, been connected for 20 years. So she's been like, for a long time, was like a mentor, was like helping me. And I remember the day that it happened. And I think this is when I broke away from these come to Jesus meetings from anger. Was I remember calling her one day and saying, I'm angry. And she's like, oh, do you want to clear that? And I said, no, I want to feel it. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be angry. And so I did. And I remember the first time it happened, I was like, okay, anger, how you doing? And it was like, and I was like, okay. And it went through my body and it was like gone. And it just dissipated. It didn't like go off into the universe, like, oh, go away. It actually, like, I could actually see it energetically. It was like it broke up into all these little infinitesimal stars or sparkles, and it just spread through my body, and it was done. It was done. Yeah.
Exactly. And if we can remember that this is just energy, and these, particularly in my world, with my universe, there's only 4. Now you have to know, when I started going on my healing journey, and the beautiful thing about the way it happened, like, my old life was gone in an instant. And I said 3 very powerful things to me. Number one, at a deep level, I knew it was happening for a reason. I knew I wasn't being picked out of the crowd and being picked on. Do you know what I mean? I knew it was happening for a reason. And which is amazing to me, that I made these 3 agreements with myself in the moment of shock and crisis, right? Because I had stayed at home. So I didn't have a, like, oh, let's split up the things and go on our way. I was like, oh my gosh, now what am I going to do? I mean, it was that too.
That's when your ego's saying you're out.
Exactly.
What were the 3 things? I'm curious, because when it happened to me, mine happened the same way.
Yeah.
And there was 3 things I said. I'm just curious
Well, the first thing I said is, 1, I said, I know this isn't happening for a reason. I'm going to learn the lessons I'm to learn, because I know that this is here to bring me something.
Yeah.
The second thing is that I said is, I'm going to feel all the feelings that are here, because I'm not coming back to visit this place. I saw too many of my friends go through similar, and they got bitter, not better.
Yeah.
And then
Very
I
true.
said, and then I'm going to move on. I'm going to have a great life.
Wow.
Now that is, in my world, that is my soul essence sitting on my human. You know what I mean? That's why I say it just comes and sits on me. My human's like, and then it's like, I can't move. I mean, like, and then there was that connecting point, that truth of, oh yeah, that's true. Now, don't get me wrong. There was, I could grip my teeth really good. And there was all kinds of things, all those feelings, because now they had an out. Years and years, in that movie, that animated movie, The Little Drummer Boy. I remember watching that growing up. And you remember the little drummer boy got sold off, and then he had to perform, and they painted a smile on his face.
I remember.
I always said when I was a child, that is me. That is me. I just paint a smile on my face and pretend everything's okay. But inside, I was just waiting for the next shoe to drop, because there was no safety, no solace. And
Yeah.
really similar but different occurred in my marriage, because of course I had to bring it back around so I could see it and transmutate it. So that was such a valuable experience for me, because I have known without knowing. And so, like, I sat there, and I'll never forget, my aunt had a miscarriage, or a stillborn baby. I was 5 or 6. And you're told you get one shot and you're done in the Catholic faith, at least the time I grew up. And I sat there and I remember sitting in church going, why would God kill a baby at birth and that be its only chance? That made no sense to me. Made no sense. So I always kept it inside, but I always questioned. Who says you can't eat meat on Friday? Who made up? I would ask myself, I'm 7, 8. Who made up this rule? Who says you got to wear a doily on your head to go into church? That was ridiculous to me. Right. And the nuns gave you a handkerchief if you didn't have one. So, there were so many things that I questioned always. So I'm a natural questioner. And because of that, when you ask, it is given. In 2000, this was 2004, my wake up, things were already starting to change. I was diving into church history saying, I want to know the truth. There's stuff in here that doesn't feel right. So I found myself on a Retrace Our Family History with my mom and 6 or 7 of my siblings. We're in Normandy and Belgium and going, there's 2 things you do, either go to grave sites or go to church. Also, our joke was, our siblings were, how do we get in mass again? We're supposed to be in Europe having fun. But if I would just have listened to what would come out of my mouth, I was standing at a gravesite, and I really hadn't entertained past lives. I really didn't have an opinion on them, let's say. I hadn't really entertained them. So I'm standing there, and I've got this kind of quirky sense of humor, and things just kind of fly out of my mouth. And I said, wouldn't that be weird if you're looking at your own gravestone? And all of a sudden, every part of me starts buzzing. Yeah. And I went, oh my God, what is that? That's really true. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing, though, the things that, and I want to go back to this, but I want to go back to a couple of things, but come back to this. Isn't it amazing, though, the things that come out of our mouths? And I think early in my journey, when the 3 things that came out for me, I remember, because I was in the same place you were. I was in this place where I knew there was a purpose, and I walk out of the house and I go homeless, and I was like, okay, don't lie to myself, don't make excuses to myself, and don't blame anything external. I had no freaking idea what the hell I was saying. I had none whatsoever. But also going back to what you said too, because I think a lot of people are waking up, and it's many times by trauma. And what you said was, I'm going to feel this, which I wish I would have known that early on. That wasn't my journey, but you said, I'm going to feel this, but you still had it. I mean, you were feeling it, but you still had your fits and spurts, is what I'm getting at. So for those of you who are just waking up, or you feel that you are, and you're coming out of trauma, those 3 rules of the road that she gave were perfect. And you might want to think about mine too. But now, so you're back into, you're at this place, and you're in a cemetery, and you say to yourself, what, if you were looking at your own grave, what happened?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be weird if you're looking at your own gravestone? Yeah.
So and then, just got lit up.
Yeah. I did everything. And then, of course, I'm around all these people that are Catholic, right? And I'm like, oh my, that feels true to me. Yeah. And of course, I just laugh, because I'm like, well, actually, it kind of makes sense. Why? It started to make sense. And that's the thing. I feel like the universe, God, whoever you want to call, it started giving me these signs of, this is what makes sense. My reality in the 3D world made no fucking sense. And I'm going to use that word, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a little kid. My dad swore constantly, but it was in a way of escapism, okay? Because he wasn't dealing with his feelings. I remember asking myself as a kid, who made up these swear words? And who said they're bad? Yeah. You know, like these are the questions I would ask myself as a kid. And I go, how come they made, and we can say that word on here?
You can say whatever you want.
Fuck, a bad word. If you look it up in the dictionary, it's not even that bad. Fornication, blah, 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 blah. You know? But they told us, not programmed it into us, not to say it and to be offended by it, because it moves so much energy, emotional energy.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, and it's not going out there and yelling that word. It's between you and you.
Yeah.
And when if that's a quick way to move through anger, have at it. You know, have at it, because it's all about moving that energy through the heart, giving it a voice, and letting it out like air.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you go that way, it goes that way. It doesn't have to slap around and get you again.
Yeah, and back to Kelly B. Sparkland's comment, and if you don't do something, anger will turn to rage.
It escalates, it builds. And let me just say, Todd, we are at this point in quote unquote time. Feeling these core 4 emotions is no longer an option. It's no longer an option. You will have them.
Yes. So you mean it's no longer an option as to whether you're going to have them, and it's almost like the universe puts you in a corner. It's no longer an option. You're going to have to own them.
You have to feel them. Yeah. And a little thing I want to make a clarity on. I'm really aware, and I feel like this is one of my things, is conscious languaging. Because we want to say, not I am. And that's, again, what we were taught, right? But then you're doing the I am command. And then all of a sudden you're claiming it as a state of being. You don't want to have it be a state of being.
No.
You want it to be, I feel angry. Ugh! You know, and then that is how it moves through the heart. You give it a voice and it goes out. And I'm telling you, you're back in this calm, centered, collected place.
Man, now I don't feel so bad. All the F's I dropped on the universe and it's coming to this meeting. That's exactly what it felt like. That's exactly what it felt like when you made that guttural noise. That's exactly if I could express my energy in those moments, those many, many, many moments. That's what it was like. It was like. It was, that's how I felt, but it did clear me. Obviously, I got reciprocated, you know.
And I've got some props here. Okay, so part of what we do is called simple alchemy. Now, let me kind of say a few things how I'm seeing this. Everything's very simple to me. I would sit there and look around the world and go, why is everybody making this so hard? How come we all just can't get along here? Why is it so hard? And I don't know about you, but I'm ready for heart, not hard. Heart, I've been there, done that. Bought the building and the billboard and the bumper sticker. I'm done with hard. I choose heart. And that comes with a whole new set of rules, let's say, or responsibilities. But I just have fun with stuff because that is the child. When I broke up a fight between my mom and dad when I was 4. I looked at my 2 older sisters and we're all standing there witnessing something. And I was like, oh my gosh, they got to do something. And nobody moved. So I did. I was 4 or 5. And I run down and I stand in front of my dad and I said, put that down. You can hurt people. And I just got in his face.
Yeah.
And I remember I stopped it.
Yeah. That's
However,
amazing.
he took me aside later and said, you know, and so then I'm like, oh, it's not good to challenge authority belief.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
You said, before the show started, you were like, I know you, I remember you. And I'm like, we'll have to talk about that. But this is like the third thing that you said to me that is, I had the exact same thing happen. I was like, we were Catholic. We had 5 kids. We had 5 kids and they were all bunched together. And my dad had been traveling and they had the same dynamics. So he'd been traveling. It was a Saturday morning. We're all sitting on the couch and we're all around my mom and my mom, you know how the Mars Venus things goes, she's yelling at him from the den. He's in the bedroom trying to sleep because he's probably been partying when he's been on the road. And he came out with a belt and he started to whip her on the butt. And I did the same thing. I was probably 6 years old and I jumped up in his face. I said, "Don't you hit my mother." And it just stopped. Everything just stopped. But the same thing happened. I got the little talking to, later. But yeah, that's interesting that it's the same thing that occurred.
And again, those to me are soul point moments. To me, that wasn't my little human. That was my soul saying, know what you're doing here. Take notice. What are you doing? You're out of control. And so anyway, so because a lot of people have had scary experiences, let's say with anger, people becoming it, not feeling it, we have these cards we created. So look at, this is the essence of anger. Can you see it? He's just not so bad, is he? He's just not so bad. He can say the Effenheimer if he wants. But, I don't know if that's a Minnesotaism or not. But one of the things is, I want to share this because this came through so succinctly. And my clients all laugh because I literally have to have a recorder going because I get all these downloads as I'm sharing with them, and then my human sits there and goes, wow, that was really helpful. And my soul says, yes. My soul says, yes, I know these things. Okay. So anger, I wanted to say before this. So what has happened in the past, in the last bazooka years, we have been ruled by the mind, right? Mm-hmm. The mind. So the mind was dominated by thinking.
Yeah.
Thinking, right?
Yeah.
And that was dominated by beliefs. And that's how we got into the ultimate separation. This is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. Okay? That's how we played the game. Okay? But now it's time to remember it was a game.
That's right.
And I say to give our heads a shake and remember who we really are. Now I find it interesting. Look at all the lights just pouring in.
It's no coincidences, man. And that's the thing, that opening, that oval opening in the cloud. There's an octagon window in front of me, looking out into the Hawaiian Ocean. I'd have to stand up to see the ocean, but so I saw that octagon cloud. I mean, through the octagon window, I saw the oval cloud, and then somebody take a picture of it, and I looked back up, and it wasn't there. But there's no coincidences, right? I want to ask you what I really, really am resonating with and digging big time. And we can always, because you've got a lot to offer. We can collaborate again, get into more. I don't want to run out of time, but it's the humor. I have a feeling that there was a parallel for not just for me and you, because a lot of our impetuses were our marriages. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so in the build up to the blow up, because it wasn't a breakup, it was a blow up, right?
Right. It's great. I like it.
But in the buildup, and I was always up to that point, up to whatever that would have been, 40 years old. Before the buildup, I was always joking around. I'm always, laughing and joking and hugging and kissing and all that. But in that 10 years, I stopped laughing totally. But after the blow up and I hit the streets, it only took about 3 or 4 weeks, and I had this epiphany, and I just started laughing again. How did that happen for you? How did you start? How did you maintain or the laughter reemerge in your life?
Right. Well, you have to remember that I was so disconnected from my feelings by the time I was 42. By the time I got divorced, now everybody's doing the math.
I'm 57. You're in good shape.
So anyway, when I started on my healing journey, they'd say, I'd go see people and they'd say, well, what do you feel? And I'd look at them kind of with a blank stare. And then my humor would kick in. I'd say, got a menu? I really didn't even know what my choices were. I was that closed off from my emotions. I wasn't even sure what to feel. And I didn't even know the difference because I had shut myself down so thoroughly and completely. And I know it was for survival because I couldn't try to feel anything more or it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
And I also, people look now, they didn't see me in 2000 crumpled in front of my sink, kitchen sink, saying, wow, it'd be really easy to become an alcoholic. Nobody'd know.
Or just to check out, period.
Or it'd be really easy to get in the car and run myself off the road and be done with this.
Oh, I had a great question on follow up on that. Oh, because again, I try to stay conscious of so many practitioners have come on this year like yourself, and they've told me so many people are waking up. And one of the things that I've recognized is that what they're going through is the same thing we went through, right? Did you ever? I was closed off too, and what you brought up to the surface was people would come up to me in the first, oh God, it was probably the first 6 or 7 months I'm on the streets, right? My kids and friends would say, "Hey, how you doing, man?" I'm good. And I'm good, And finally one day I realized, I thought, wait a minute, you're not good. My son came up to me and said, how you doing, Dad? I said, I'm not good. But that was the day the healing started. Did you go through that?
By the time I did that, I was done putting on the painted smiley face.
Yeah.
So people would say, how are you doing? I go, it sucks.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And it was just like, but what was so powerful in that is people responded to realness.
Yeah, that's true.
They really responded. People are inherently good, you guys. They want to help each other.
Yeah.
They just don't know how. So that's why to work or to have someone support you that has been there is why it's so powerful. And family can't do, because there's all that stuff in there. Now, you speak about people waking up. My mother passed in January. So it was a big deal because my dad died when he was only 54, when I was 25. And people go, what did he die from? I said, anger ate him up.
Yeah.
And that was true. And, it was it affected his physical body. But again, that was a gift because I looked at that and I said, whoa, not feeling anger equals body falling apart. Now, that was a good belief. You know what I mean? That I created.
Yeah.
So it again, the feelings aren't feelings are your awareness. You have
Yeah.
an emotion because you kind of want to, people put them together. They're different.
They are
We
different.
are going to feel our way home here. We're not
Yeah.
going to think our way. The mind cannot take us where the heart remembers.
Yeah. There's this kid, Dane Jones. He was on yesterday, but he had bad reception. The first time I interviewed him, now this is a kid who's 23 years old. He's walking the streets of South Florida on the beach, wakes up every morning and goes and finds a coconut tree, opens a coconut and eats and drinks it, right? So I said to him, he was one of the first young people we got on, and I said to him, so man, because after the first of the year when things started exploding, I said, so what does it look like out there, man? What does this ascension thing look like to you? He said, dude, I don't see it. I feel it. And I was like, whoa, that's it. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. You're saying this.
Yes. You know, I just invite everybody right now to put their hands in their heart, take a breath and relax. You are
Yeah.
fine. You
Chill
are
out.
fine. You are in the perfect place for you right now.
Very true.
Trust your soul essence. It has your back. You aren't doing this wrong. You cannot, you're on the ride. You cannot not. There's only things to feel here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the feelings are how you raise your vibration. Why do you think they told us to stop feeling?
Yeah.
Because it raises your vibration. It pushes you that portal of energy and takes you to a higher plane where you see more. It's like somebody said, I said once, it's, you know, this ascension process is like going into a high rise. You know, when we come in, we're in the ground floor. We're ground, you know, ground zero. And then we move in that first floor and we're like, wow, this is, we look outside and you're like, wow, this is all there is. And
Oh
then
yeah.
pretty soon things start happening. You go up to the third floor. You're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know there was a park over there or a tree there. And then you're going up and up. And pretty soon you're looking at it going, wow, there's a vineyard over there. Oh my gosh, you can see the sunrise and set. Wow, it's the same building. It's a
Yeah.
different lens.
And what's the everything to me is like it's got meaning, it's got truth on both sides. It's a paradox. It's a weird universal paradox. It doesn't apply by human cognitive understanding. And that is the higher you go in the building, the more your ass shows. So what
I
I
like
mean by
it.
that is, yeah, because really, and I want to touch on something else because something came in today, and I think you really just broke the back on the camel here. But if we get past the point of embarrassment, that's why when you said the masks were off and they said, how you doing? Like, I feel like shit. Well, give me the menu. Let me see what my choices are. That's why it works, because you're past the point of embarrassment. You're past the point of blame and shame, and you're just past it. You're just done with it.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
other thing that you really jumps out at me, Morgan, I talked to Morgan after the first show today, and she said to me, I was getting something last night. I was getting a download. And it had to do with the divine. It had to do with the masculine. It had to do with the masculine. Like something broke. Something broke open. I said, that's weird. I was coming back from the store last night and I had the same thing. And I couldn't remember what it was. She goes, I can't remember either. You know how that goes. Sometimes that stuff comes in. You're just like, it's in, it's out, and you don't remember. But what you said was about the moving away from the feelings, right? Now, women have always been emotional beings, right? They had the women's intuition. So they had that something, right? They were at least able to support each other, talk about things, be upfront about things with each other mostly. And the men didn't listen, but I think that's the big thing now. I think that false masculine power that has fallen is now that vessels being filled. And I think it's the capacity to feel, because after listening to you, that really is the steering wheel of the ascension, is feeling.
It's simple. Simple alchemy. This is within us. This, I had a mentor once that kept saying, it's like falling off a log. It's programmed within us to do this journey.
Yeah.
It's again, Well, it can't be that easy. 4 emotions: anger, sadness, worry. They got worry. Again, feel it, don't become it.
Yeah.
And then lonely.
Yeah.
You know, those 4. And I want to touch on this guy a little bit, if I can. How are we
Is
doing for
that
time?
lonely?
That's lonely.
We can go over a little bit. Yeah. And I just want to point out too, because those 4 things you just put up with the 4 things that those are the exact 4 things that I was processing or whatever. But there's a big difference between lonely and alone, you know?
Exactly. Now, I live by myself. Well, currently I don't, because my youngest brother, who's almost 20 years younger than me, is going through the divorce thing right now, which is fascinating to me, how things come full circle. And now
Right.
he's here with me. However, lonely. When people go, don't you feel lonely living by yourself? And of course, the snarkiness part of me says, well, who the hell's alone? I've always got a party around me. I don't know about you, but I do.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
So, but what, sometimes I'm like, oh, wow, like an old flash, like, oh, Friday, you got to have some plans or whatever. And it doesn't really happen so much anymore, but it used to. I used to like, wow, I feel lonely. But the moment I would say that, I'd breathe, and then I wasn't. It's the oxymoron. If you acknowledge that emotion, let it rise up and feel it, all of a sudden you aren't. And then I go to my little one, I go, woo, where do you want to go now? Let's go on an adventure.
Yeah.
So that is important. Well,
Yes.
I wanted to say one more thing about this one, Todd, because this is a biggie, because I have gifts on the other side. That happens. This one connects you to your soul. So growing up in your experience, again, I see it. You came in as this bright little light and this denser family, and you came to shift it,
Yes.
shift the lineage, whatever. But I used to sit with 10 or 9 people around me and go, how can I feel lonely when there's so many people?
You can.
You can, because we equated people with not feeling lonely. And that's why people say bad jobs, bad marriages, bad, or whatever, things that aren't not even bad, but things that don't serve, because they're so afraid to feel this one.
Yeah.
What came through one day from my awareness and guidance was, what do you suppose, Julie, was the first emotion we felt as a soul when we separated to play this game from all that is?
Mm-hmm.
First cut is the deepest. Yeah. This is soul loneliness for home.
Yeah. Beautiful. So tell us, I'm just curious, because I think that whatever we receive, they're just different faces of the universe. The universe speaks to us all in a unique way. But I'm just curious because of your makeup. So who's at the party there every day? Are you I mean, are you dealing with the galactic, angelic, archangel, divine essences, nature, organic, Mother Universe, all of the above?
All of the above. And what one of the things, I watch a lot of your shows, by the way, Todd, and I for all you are willing to do. And like I said, thank you for remembering. It was time. And what my I don't even know what the word is. Sometimes these human words don't even fit. But is I'm really anchoring this in an earthly way. We do have this physical experience. And once you get over and remember, wow, this isn't all I am.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool to travel the universe. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. And that is purposeful here, to connect with those high frequencies, to bring them in. I am here to support people to remember. Nature was my biggest healer. I am blessed. I live by a lake, 10,000 lakes here. Can't go far without one. But I went there every day, and I had this golden retriever. Now, dogs are about loyalty. right, in animal medicine. But this one, people would say, I don't even like dogs and I love Maggie, because she insisted on being in my sessions with me. And at first she would paw people. She'd like paw. I go, Maggie, be nice, and finally I started communicating with her, and she said, no, I am telling them to pause because they are not grounded.
Mm.
And so I would get to the point, they'd come in my angel tree house. That's the space you're experiencing right now. Much has happened here, and we can have a discussion on that maybe in another show. But anyway, she would, I would say she would do that, and I say, okay, she's my energy checker. You're not grounded. You're not in your body, so you're not going to receive full benefit from what we're going to do today. Why don't you just sit on the floor? And I'd show them, I say, do you know how to ground? And they'd go, no. And I'd say, well, all it is, it can look like this. There's lots of ways. Try this. And they would, and she'd get up and go sit down, peace and calm. I said, she did her job.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? I find it, I don't want to say laughable out of disrespect, but I know when I started, the first thing that happened after the wake-up call was the trees. I started seeing trees. They're like, show me trees for like a day and a half. I'm like, what the hell is this? Am I going to be a tree hugger? Those are my exact words. Am I going to be a tree? At this point, I'm already half off I'm already crazy.
People already thought you hit your head on a rock, so big deal.
Yeah. And so I'm like, and this is just me. This is me on the streets. And so they went from trees to the wind and to water was huge. I was always walking on a bayou, and then animals, right? And then one day it hit me, and I thought, wait a minute, what does it say in the Bible? It says something about we have dominion over the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, the universe, I already figured it out. The universe is teaching in a paradoxical manner. We're actually the low man on the totem pole, and everybody is because these animals are incredible. I never dealt with cats, and I was about 3-4 years in my journey, and I go to a sister's place, and I hung out there for a couple of months, and she had like all these cats, indoor and outdoor cats, and every time I'd go outside and do my own little rituals that I would just do on my own little thing, they'd all get around me, and then it's been that way ever since, But these animals are souls, and not only are they souls, they're guides, spirit guides. There are lovers, our fathers, our mothers that's a real deal. I remember having this very ascended teacher coming a couple of years ago in New York that as I was playing with his dog, that's just a projection, just like everything else. It's just part of this movie. They don't have souls. And I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? One of the dogs always growling at you and loving me. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's amazing. That's an amazing story. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. Well, and she was actually an ascended master that came to work with me.
I don't doubt that a bit. At all.
Yeah. And now, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, in fact, I've, like many of us, I'm no different, but I've had many, many divine episodes with, what I would call ascendeds or whatever, galactics or whatever. But I've also had these incredible, and they're just always like little flashes with animals. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I know, you're not just a cat.
They're like giving you the peek.
Yeah, like you just winked at me. Birds are huge. Birds are like huge with me. They're like, oh, man, they'll just come in front of my face. Like, did you get that message? Or go this way.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. So I know right before the show, like I said, I'd asked for a message too. And we have these wild turkeys. They started coming around 3-4 years ago. And now they love the energy of my house. So they hang around my house. And I have some decks and stuff. And so not one, but 2 come right up to my door and they're beaking in like that. They're like, well, has the show started yet?
It's a real deal. Are you near a metropolitan area? Or are you out in the
I'm actually 30 miles south of Minneapolis.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I remember.
But there's a lot of trees and a lot of woods. And I live at the top of a hill on a cul-de-sac. And this house picked me.
Yeah.
It called called me here. And the way I came about this, it was prepping. And it's a house that vibrates at a 7, which is a spiritual number. It's 7 with a 0 at the end. And that's why my husband could never be here. Literally, it would feel uncomfortable. Now I see it. But at the time, I'm like, why don't you ever want to be home with your kids and me? But it almost like it was a vibration that wasn't a match for his soul's journey.
Yeah.
Not better, different.
Yeah.
Different place.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm curious. I don't know why I'm asking you this question. But what does the number 13 mean to you? What is the meaning of the number 13?
Okay. Well, we didn't really, there's a lot of things I could share, but
we'll do it again.
We'll do it again. Okay. There's in order for this to occur, this Maguus, I guess is the word today. I make up words. There had to be codes hidden within codes. And so while numerology has a piece, astrology has a piece, deck of cards has a piece, all of them had pieces. And I always say it was like, do you remember? Don't forget. Just like pushing on us to remember, right? But there's something called the clock, essential codes. So just breathe into that. And I always say, don't believe a freaking word I say. Feel it. Feel if it resonates for you. Because I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. This is just what I know to be so. In the essential clock, there has been a human layer.
Yeah.
Did you feel this? And in the human clock, 13 was about us remembering our power.
Yeah.
Why do you suppose they made 13 an unlucky number?
Yeah.
They don't want people pushing their power on a 13th floor in a hotel room to a hotel, right? Oh, I might remember my power. So literally, Friday the 13th is bad. It's like you look at it all. It was about power, us remembering our power.
That's phenomenal.
Do you feel that?
Yeah, and and again, intuitively, I don't. It's all this energy is all about spontaneity, intuitiveness, creativity, imagination, courage.
Check.
So, because my number's always 9. I was born on the 9th. 3, 6, 9, 12, 12, 12, 12. And then very recently, I was called to Kauai. I ain't got a pot to piss in. You know what I mean? And I'm like, how am I going to get to Kauai? Just go. Morgan's like, what are you doing? Whatever you're going to do it fast. I'm like, okay. So I go. And all this magic, a lot of initiations, but a lot of magic happened. And then that number started coming up. And I haven't had a home in a long, long, long time. And certainly that's one thing you want to give, to your partner, and it just happened. And I remember pulling up saying, I said, that address, that's a 13. She said, that's a 4. She said, that's a 4. And then I look up here, there's a 13. There's a 13. And she goes, that's a 13. That's a 13. So it was no longer a 4, but I knew there was something about it. So that actually,
yes. And it's actually the doorway to really go what we call inside the clock. Yeah. And that is all about walking into your essence, divine child, and feeling at home, remembering home.
It's amazing because these shows, every show I speak, I'm a participant. I'm almost like a client. You know what I mean? It's amazing. And I hear the higher selves and multidimensional aspects, colors, frequency, wavelengths. And so I start this show. I was talking to Morgan for a couple of minutes between the last show, and I said, I feel sick. I'm going to go throw up, and this isn't going to happen to me. I've been purging for the last couple of mornings, having these incredible lucid dreams. I'm coming out like, oh my God, I'm on it. Let's go charge the hill. And then it's like, And so I was about to get on the show with you. I'm like, Morgan, I feel like I'm going to get sick. You know, this is something's there. You got to be moved out. And so then I start talking to you and I'm getting lit up. And then we've had the conversation and I get to the end and I ask you this question and it moves right out. It's gone. It moves out. It's gone.
Yeah.
So that's how this magic works. And that's how this co-creation and collaboration. And I love what you say about remembering, you know, I love that because it's beyond the cliche of the light worker circles. We're not awakening, we're remembering.
We're just
No,
remembering
but
what we already know.
Yes, it's true. It's true. But we to take the steps or recognize the synchronicities or the signs or the omens or whatever to go deeper. We can grab those memories. I guess that's what I'm saying. We can grab them as opposed to, you know, just having them hit us in the face, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, and right now, I mean, I'm just going to briefly kind of check off January, February, what I know in March. January was all about soul drive. It was all about the soul taking the driver's seat. I mean, human, you're in the back seat. Are we going to be okay? Yep, you'll be fine. You're good. You can good. You did right along. You've done well. You brought us this far. That's nice. But now the soul is here to drive. Yeah. And then that ignited a lot of soul passion for people. That's really what January was anchoring. And then February was about emotional catharsis. Those core four, it's like there's a final exam here. And you darn well better have not been sleeping through class. Because that's really what when people say, I feel anxious, I'm like, take a breath. What aren't you willing to feel? What don't you want to, what emotion don't you want to go through? You only have 4 choices. And I don't know about you, but I can master 4. When someone told me there was only 4, I went, oh, I can do 4. I can become an artist at 4 emotions. And the thing is, the more you get familiar with them and recognize that feeling that it's just here to bless you and to expand you, you don't resist it anymore. You welcome them.
Very true. Yeah, I had we just separated. I don't remember what's today, 3 days ago. And so yesterday I jumped in the car, I ran up to the store, I'm coming back and I have to go down like this gravel road. And I felt the car do something that wasn't cool. Right. So I'm having a little trouble with the power steering. And so I pulled up and I wasn't myself because, you know, it's the human detaching or, you know, physically detaching from my partner. So I thought, oh my God, I'm going to get sick. You know, what's happening here? You know, why am I feeling this anxiety? But I did exactly what you said because I had done it so many times. I said, okay, I'm just going, what am I feeling? Okay, I'm feeling that what happens if the car breaks down? How are you going to fix it? Boom, it's gone. It dissipated into my body, was gone, just like that. So you're true. Right about that. Now, what's March to you?
March is all about growing into, and it's really a lot about the root chakra. It's about grounding here. It's about lighting up from top to bottom and having this be a channel now. Yeah. You want to see a good visual. If there's a movie Overboard, and just go YouTube the scene.
With Goldie Hawn and
yes, and Kurt as her husband, I think in real life. But anyway, Google or YouTube the closet scene where he fixes her closet. He makes her this closet, and it's rotating. And so things are really coming from the past back in and through us. It was a great visual for me. It's really coming back and through us. We're pulling in all these lifetimes, all these gifts. Yeah. But you don't get the gifts unless you're present. Yeah. And how you stay present is staying current with the core 4 emotions in my world. Again, emotions, however you want to phrase it for you. But those are not in the way. They are the way through. Yeah. And as I gently remind people, reheart them. We want to take mind out of it because mind is it's kind of done its due. We're retiring the mind. Thinking is really going to exhaust you.
Yeah.
Notice, am I in my head? Well, how do I know? Am I in a loop?
Yeah.
Put your hand on your heart. You can't be in your head when you put your hands here.
Yeah.
And take a breath. Simple alchemy.
And you know, a lot, and as this goes further, it's a beautiful infinite simplicity that the what was not easy for us is becoming easier because we're starting to give to that. I saw this post yesterday from Buceo Alonge. He's out of Brazil. I've tried to get him on the show because he puts out some incredible stuff, but he won't. It says, my job is to confront myself over and over again until I am the clearest, stillest channel for spirit to exist within. That channel thing, I get that visual. And I see that. And, you know, people talked about the root a lot over the last year and a half or so. Oh, we're at the root now. It's the last one and we're all going to be good. You know, it always goes deeper. But I think what I'm getting from you is that because I've had a lot of stuff going on in my root this year, which I was just like, well, why is this still going on? You know, but it's correlated with what's the expansion I've had. But it's like the seed is it's rebirth, you know. So it's not like we're cleaning it out now. We're just coming back through it, and that does have some physical ramifications. But it's that channel. It's that channel is now able to flow through, you know. So yeah, I was going to ask you too. I don't want to get. So do you work with people online? How do people find you? And then anything that you can offer in terms of explaining what you do until we have another opportunity to go more into it.
So thank you for this. Yeah, I do work with people one-on-one. Up to this point, a majority of my work has been one-on-one because it is one person. As one rises, we all do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody thinks they have to go out and hit, you know, whatever. You know, you change one person's life and click them into remembering who they really are. It creates a ripple effect wherever they go. So I work one-on-one and I do it via Zoom. It doesn't matter. I also have, I don't know, Todd, if you know about the quantum biofeedback computer. Have you ever heard of that? The EPFX, have you ever run across that?
I've heard it. I don't know anything about it.
Well, I use it very intuitively. Again, it's consciousness to me. So I got it. I remembered it. You know what I mean? Like everybody's like freaked out about, oh, this is so complicated. I'm like, I don't know. I just press this. And how do you know how to do it? I don't know. It just told me. Actually, somebody else is using my fingers. I don't know. You know, but it communicates with me. And sometimes the human just requires that validation of the physical to move to the next.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that it can do is it looks at the whole of your energy outside of time. Because it's interesting because that's why past life triggers are in us, because the body's existing outside of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but it has a past life panel. And inevitably, like I'll start whatever sharing and asking questions, and then we'll go into that just for confirmation. And you can also see your aura, and you can see if things are stuck in there. And it's kind of like amusement for the human, you know, so the soul can, so the human can relax, so the soul can come forth. But the past lives are fascinating because it tells you what's on top, what emotional stuckness is on top. So it'll tell you what year, if you were male or female, what continent you were in, and your most likely profession, and then what the emotional congestion is. Because really the only reason why past lives are pertinent is because we have emotional unfinished business back there. And now it's not even there. It's all right here now because we're in triple time. Everything's one. So that's the other thing that people don't understand is they're still trying to play out linear time, and there is no time. It's only now.
That's right.
So I do that, and that you can find on my website. It's called heartessentialart.com, and there's under, I think it says offerings or support. I'm not sure. The tab wants to change. There's also I do online more and more. I'm being pushed to do more online courses like webinars or things like that. So you might start seeing me offering more free things just to just start having people engage again.
Yeah.
Between you and I, we would both do this for no. You know, money has never been the thing for me.
No.
I've had to walk this in faith and not by sight with the resources. And because I know that, it does show up. It always has, and I just know that it will. I don't freak out about that because I'm in this place of, well, if I am being true to myself, if I'm current, if I am fine. In this now moment, I'm fine. So anyway, that is something we do. My soul sister and I, she goes as Magenta Express, and my name is Emerald Speaks. So we offer a monthly forecast, and that's the number 4 cast. We do the codes. So we're casting the 4. 4 is unity, unify. It's $15 a month. You receive PDFs, and then there's a couple audio downloads that come through about the month's energy. And basically how I see it is we go like this, and we put your arm around you, and we say, well, this is our knowing of what this month might look like. We really can't prepare for this, but we can be aware of it.
Yeah.
And then if for those that want to take it one step further, there's something we offer. It's called the Next Level, and that is an audio download, and that is $4.95 a month.
Okay. Cool. Can you put the link in the comments? Oh, there it is. Lauren File. Thank you. I've worked with Julie. She's amazing. www.heartessentialart.com.
Oh, thank you, Lauren.
And now, my last question is, how did we connect? How did that happen?
Well, you know, it's interesting. And again, this goes back to we're remembering.
Yeah.
I came across, I didn't spend a lot of time on Facebook because whatever, it just wasn't helpful for me at certain points because they know who's here. And they kind of know what we're here to do. So it wasn't helpful at a point. But now it is. It's time, like you said. So a couple years ago, I feel like when you first started doing some things, I ran across it. I'm not sure if somebody shared it with me or what, but I remember, and I look at you and I go, wow. And again, I love past lives. It says in my astrology chart, I came to educate people about past lives. So I'm like, oh, I remember him. He's here. Oh, good. And then I'm just like, I don't know, probably sent you some love or something. But then, you know, you go on, whatever. And then last spring, maybe, when you started doing more consistent shows, I was plugging in. It just like, it would just show up, right? How things work. It started coming up. And I'm not even sure how Morgan found me. You know, all of a sudden I get a Facebook message from Morgan saying, hey, how would you like, you know, to be interviewed? I'm like, yeah.
Now, she's got a nose for it. There's no doubt about it.
But
I can remember. Yeah.
I was just going to say, on my, I have a very different view on manifesting and this creating thing because I feel like we're just remembering.
Yeah.
You know, we're not creating anything at this point.
Right.
We're just remembering and going home. So I have these white tiles in my bathroom and I use them in like a whiteboard. So I write things on the tile because then when I say let go, I'm looking at stuff, right? Messages my soul wants me to remember, whatever. And one of the things I'd written, it said 2019, it said be interviewed. And I went, well, that's kind of weird. Wow, whatever. But then, she reached out and I went, oh my God, there it is.
Yeah, this is the real deal. This is how it happens. This is how it happens. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love to get you on again. Maybe get you and your soul sister on together. Thank you, Morgan Lee.
You know, I just want to share something. That is not her role here. I am the one to go out. She's going further in and up. So she puts a lot of the code on that website out. If you go under Magenta Express, you can see lots of things she has shared and put out, and you will remember. And then the other thing she has done is she's put these, we call movies into you, movies. They move ease, and there's tons of those on our YouTube channel. They're 2, 3, 4 minutes long. They're all coded in remembering of the
What's
simple.
the name of the YouTube channel?
It's Heart Essential Art and the ampersand sign, Simple Alchemy.
Okay. So yeah, so put that link on there if you would, because people are going to want to reach out to you, and put the link on. Well, Lauren put it on.
Thank you, Lauren. She's on top of it. Actually, Lauren came to me. She is working with me as my assistant right now because I'm only one person and I've got like 50,000 things, as we all do, you know, and we're just like, okay, it's time. Bring somebody else to support this. And we do have we do have a heart donation button too on our front page that I share with Magenta Express because that is not her role to be out in the front, but that is a way we can thank her for what she is sharing with the world.
Excellent. Well, this is a year of coming out, and this is a year of collaboration, co-creation, supporting all of our brothers and sisters. So I would encourage anyone on this live and in the replay to visit heartessentialart.com. And I look forward to further collaborations with you. And thank you
Indeed.
for the enjoyable and the laughs and all that stuff. We'll be back.
This is what we're here for, to have fun.
I know, it is exactly. Everybody Wang Chung, man. That's what So we'll be back in an hour and 35 minutes. And God, this 3D memory, I can't remember who the hell is coming on at 3 o'clock. Oh, it's a Divine Masculine dude. Yeah, really cool guy. I don't remember his name. It's a very unique name. Just look on the page and it'll pop up. So you take care.
Heart hugs to
there you go.
everybody out there.
We'll see you soon.